Good afternoon, Long Beach, and today, of course, is our briefing for September the 16th, 2020. We have, as always, Paola, who is doing our ASL translation, and also we have Alejandra, who's going to be doing our ASL translations, Paola, and Spanish will be done by our health department, Alejandra, after we do any questions. And also we have the health department, who is here as always. Kelly Colopy, our director, will also be doing her update for us as well. So let's begin by just providing some numbers, and then we have a lot of data to go over, and then I also want to talk about some kind of where we're at as it relates to our restaurants and our bars across the city. So let me just begin by going over the numbers. We have 11,311 positive cases that have happened in our city since the start of this crisis. And of those, about 10,511 have recovered. We have lost 237 residents to COVID-19. Every single one of them, of course, is someone that's mattered, whose life mattered, and has a story, and whose family mourns them, and we mourn them as well. Like in Long Beach, the death rate in the United States is almost at 200,000. We are at a point in our country where this health crisis and pandemic has taken a massive toll on our country, and not just here in Long Beach, but everywhere across our state. And it's incredibly sad to see where we are. There are some signs of hope, at least here locally, that things are turning around, and I want to discuss those a little bit. So first, just as an overview, as a reminder, we are now operating under the new state's Blueprint for a Safer Economy. This really looks at all COVID-19 trends, county by county, across the state of California. And it really looks at two leading criteria: the case rate and the positivity test rate. As you can see on this slide, these are the two state indicators that the state is going to look at before a county can move forward. Of course, we're in LA County. If you look at LA County, which includes Long Beach and Pasadena, we remain generally in the purple tier. We're in the overall purple tier, which we know is the highest transmission tier. So it's basically the tier you don't want to be in. It's the most restrictive one. Our daily case rate is at 8.1 per 100,000, and our positivity rate is at 3.2%. That is actually the percentage of folks that are testing, they're testing positive from the tests. That's a good sign. So our positivity rate actually, if you look at this, is in the orange tier. And it goes purple, red, orange, and then it goes down from there. And so the positivity rate, we are doing well. The case rate, we are improving, but not, again, where we need to be. And the county's positivity rate puts us in the tier that we are currently in. And so we just got to make sure that we continue to do better. We're moving in the right direction, and I want to show you that with you in the data ahead. So we have this first slide on episode date, which I want to show everybody. As a reminder, we provide this information, of course, on the dashboard we have. And if you look at cases by date for our city, you can see with this slide that new cases have continued to decline steadily since late July and early August. I mean, look at that spike that we had. And as, of course, we know, case rates sometimes adjustments are made and have because of data, but overall, this is the type of chart you want to see where we are really decreasing that cases by episode date, and that's a really, really good sign. If you look at the next image, this is our COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people in population. Of course, Long Beach is about 500,000 in the city. So Long Beach is represented by the light blue line that you can see, and we are doing consistently better than the city of LA and LA County overall. If you look at the dark blue line is the state, the yellow line is LA County, and the dotted gray line at the very top is the city of Los Angeles. So the overall state has a better case per 100,000 rate than us here in the city. But we are doing a bit better than the county and our city of Los Angeles partners. So that's been pretty consistent, and we want to keep it that way. Of course, we want to get closer to that dark blue line of the state. And if you look at this next image, this is our deaths per 100,000. This slide shows that our number of deaths per 100,000 is about 47. And again, Long Beach is in the light blue line. We consistently do better than LA County. which is the orange line. The state of California is the dark blue line. And overall, the state is doing, has less deaths per 100,000. And of course, the ever important hospitalization over time chart. Now, hospitalizations are reported daily, but there's fluctuation over time because it's really all about when the information is made available to us through the hospitals. As you can see, the past 14-day average is slightly lower than our last 28-day average. And so again, we are moving in the right direction, but we have a long way to go as it relates to hospitalizations. This is hospital information. As you can see, steady, adequate, stable hospital capacity. Bed usage is at 55%, and we have surge beds available as well. And the next slide is our PPE inventory. We have about 1.59 million units of PPE in inventory and distribute a lot of inventory as we go consistently. And of course, we know that most of this goes to first responders, essential workers. I want to, before I turn this over to our health department director, I do just have some other remarks. I want to say that there is no question that Long Beach is headed in the right direction. And that should give us first hope that we are doing better and more of our economy can safely reopen. And secondly, there is also no question that this is still a very serious disease. And so while we're doing better, washing our hands, being careful, sanitizing surfaces, wearing face coverings is all really, really important and continues to be. I want to share also that we've had a lot of questions about can we reopen restaurants indoors, or can we open bars? When can movie theaters reopen? And I want to just remind everyone that these decisions are not guided by the city. The city doesn't make the decision to open or not open any of these industries. Those are all decided by the state and state indicators. So we have to meet the state indicators to move to the next tier. And only when in the next tier can health department officials then decide to make decisions about reopenings within that tier. So as a reminder, we're in that purple tier. There is nothing else that we can reopen in this purple tier until the city moves into the red tier. And we're not there yet based on the state data. So I just think it's really important for people to know. And I know that there's frustration around that, but this is all done through state data. And turning to that, I want to talk about restaurants and bars. First, to all of our restaurants out there, just thank you for your creativity in opening and in using parking lots and parklets to continue business. We have now over 200, I believe, in 20 parklet and parking lots across the city, with more applications coming in every week. And we continue to open those. It's been an important proposal for us. We've extended all those permits all the way through at least 2021, the beginning of 2021. And we're going to work to ensure that if neighborhoods and businesses want permanent parklets, even after this pandemic is over, we're going to do that as well. They have been a great addition to the city. Now, that has helped restaurants survive. Now, what about bars? I want to make sure that we're very clear that bars in any community, but especially in Long Beach, aren't just places to gather, but have cultural significance. I think about, for example, take Broadway and the numerous LGBTQ plus bars on that street. For many people, those are the only safe spaces they have within the community. Or places that have music history across our city, whether it's Alex's, or new places like Darling's or the Grasshopper, or bars all across our community and places that folks love and have been a part of their lives for a long time. These places are important, and they are currently closed under the state guidance. So what's next? We know that the city doesn't have the ability to reopen bars. What we are trying to do with the health department is work with bars to see if there's a way that some of them can be essentially viewed as restaurants. Restaurants can open, bars cannot under the state guidelines. We know that some bars that have kitchens have reopened. But if we can get essentially the ability to have our bars operate like restaurants and have a food component, then that could be allowed by the state. Our health department is meeting with many bar owners. In fact, I believe that Kelly Colopy, who's going to speak next, is actually meeting with some bar owners even tomorrow to see if there is a path forward to get this done. But to be clear, safety is of the utmost importance, and the only reason why we're at this point is because our cases and our positivity rate is dramatically lower. And so the only way we move forward is if our medical team believes it's safe to do so, and they are going to be meeting with the bars, because we also know that we do not want to be in a position where we lose many of these critical cultural icons and institutions. And so in the couple of weeks ahead, our health department is really working hard with the state and the county. I'm engaged in this work as well to see if there is a path forward, and I'm very optimistic and hopeful that there will be. And so with that, I want to turn this over to Kelly Colopy, who will also have some updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. Before I dive deeper into the COVID-19 data, I want to make a quick mention about the impact of our air quality worsened by the wildfires. Wildfire smoke can irritate your lungs, cause inflammation, affect your immune system, and make you more prone to lung infections, including COVID-19. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's even more important to know how wildfire smoke can affect you and how to minimize its impacts. The best way to protect against the potentially harmful effects of wildfire smoke is to reduce your exposure to the wildfire smoke. You can find reliable and up-to-date information about air quality in your zip code by visiting airnow.gov. Again, that's AIRNOW.gov. At this time, our air quality index is over 150, which means the air quality is unhealthy. We ask that you limit outdoor exercise when it's smoky outside, or choose lower intensity activities to reduce your smoke exposure. If you have one, run a portable air cleaner. Portable air cleaners work best when run continuously with doors and windows closed. Keep in mind that cloth face coverings used to slow the spread of COVID-19 block larger respiratory droplets, but don't offer much protection against wildfire smoke, which is made up of much smaller particles. Even though some symptoms like dry cough, sore throat, and difficulty breathing can be caused by both wildfire smoke and COVID-19, symptoms like fevers or chills, muscle or body aches, and diarrhea are not related to smoke exposure. Of course, if you have severe symptoms like difficulty breathing or chest pain, immediately call 911. Finally, know that people who currently have or who are recovering from COVID-19 are more at risk of harmful health effects from wildfire smoke than others. So with that, I'm going to go back to the COVID report. As the mayor mentioned earlier, the tiered system looks at two indicators. The tiered system the state uses looks at two indicators to determine when counties can reopen. As part of Los Angeles County, along with Pasadena, we have to meet criteria for both indicators to be able to move to the next tier. It's important to note that our local numbers, even though they do not alone determine our movement through the tiers, they provide the context for our local decision making. I'd like to share how we're doing as a city. Our first indicator is the positivity rate. This graph shows that our positivity rate over the past week, or actually with a 7-day lag, was 4.3%. Currently, our Long Beach positivity rate up to date is 4.1%, so it's a little bit lower than that. This is the lowest that we have seen in a long time. It is a little bit higher than the county's positivity rate. The data shown here reflects the case rate, so cases per 100,000. This also reflects a 7-day lag. The Long Beach's average daily new case rate was 8.3 per 100,000, which is what you see here and on the state indicator dashboard. This rate is just also slightly higher than the overall county rate of 8.1, as the mayor shared earlier. Both of these, the case rate keeps us in the purple, in terms of the tiers, it has to be below 7 before we could move forward. Our current daily case rate for the city is 5.9. So while we take the 7-day lag and we pull that every Monday, which is a little bit higher, today's rate was 5.9, so it is definitely going down, and it is the best that we have seen it since May. While the city of Long Beach has seen a downward trend in both testing positivity and case rate over the past month, it's really important that we continue tracking that downward to be able to get to that next tier and to be able to open more widely across the city. It's important that we continue to reduce transmission, as although we may not be able to move out of a tier without the county, we are large enough that we have impact on the county's numbers. So as ours go down, it helps support their ability to go down, which also leads to the different tiers. So I want to talk a little bit about the stigma and the stigma that comes with COVID-19. We hear a lot about fear and anxiety about disease generally, and it's causing social stigma. This leads to labeling, stereotyping, discrimination, and negative behaviors towards others. For example, stigma and discrimination can occur when people link a disease like COVID-19 with a population, a community, or a nationality, which is something we saw happening earlier in this pandemic. Stigma and discrimination can also happen after a person has recovered from COVID-19 or been released from home isolation or quarantine. Discrimination can take the form of other people avoiding or rejecting them, getting denied health care, education, housing, or employment, verbal abuse, or physical violence. It's important for community members and leaders to help prevent this stigma by maintaining the privacy and the confidentiality of those who are seeking health care and also those who may be part of a contact tracing investigation. It's important that we correct negative language that can cause stigma, and by sharing accurate information about how the virus spreads. It's important to speak out against negative behaviors and statements, including those that are being used in social media, to make sure that images used in communication show diverse communities and do not reinforce stereotypes. That we use media channels, including news media and social media, to speak out against stereotyping of groups who experience stigma because of COVID-19. And that we thank our healthcare workers, our first responders, our grocery store clerks, and others who are working on the front lines and putting themselves at risk every day. We suggest virtual resources for mental health or other social support services for people who have experienced stigma or discrimination due to COVID-19. And from that, I want to talk a little bit about the importance of this month. This is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. We are hearing that people are experiencing mental health conditions throughout the city due to COVID, which could exacerbate the experiences or the looks at suicide. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So different life experiences affect a person's risk of suicide. We know the risk is higher among those who experience violence, including child abuse, bullying, or sexual violence. Also, feelings of isolation, depression, anxiety, and other stressors are known to raise the risk of suicide. While most people will experience these feelings at some point in their lives, stressors like this pandemic may cause more people to experience these feelings. To reduce the stigma surrounding mental health and suicidal ideation, and many times critical for an individual's recovery. Support from family, friends, and community lend to a feeling of being connected and can help reduce suicidal thoughts and behavior. In-person or virtual counseling or therapy is so important in helping individuals fight suicidal thoughts and behavior, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic when people are staying home and are not as connected. If you or someone you care about is feeling overwhelmed with emotions like sadness, depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideation, or if you're concerned about harming yourself or others, please reach out for immediate care. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, or that's 1-800-273-8255 for English, and 1-888-628-9454 for Spanish. If you prefer to text, you can access the crisis hotline by texting HOME, capital HOME, to 741-741. The Health Department website also includes many mental health resources and places to connect. As with physical emergencies, mental health emergencies should call 911 for immediate assistance. In absence of a mental health emergency, you can take care of yourself and support your mental health by taking breaks from the news stories. Hearing about the pandemic repeatedly can be upsetting. Taking care of your body by eating well, exercising, getting some sleep, and avoiding alcohol and recreational drugs. Connecting with others through calls, video chat, instant messages, email, letters, or any other form of communication. And talking with people you trust about your concerns and how you're feeling. Thank you for your support in this, and really be paying attention to your community, to your family, and any way that you can to help support people so that they're feeling mentally well. And with that, I'm turning it back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Actually, right now, we will go ahead and take questions from the media. First question comes from Sebastian at the Long Beach Post. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Hi, thanks so much. My question was more concerning about conversations on bars converting into restaurants. I don't know who would be more able to address that, but maybe there's more information you can share about how, what are some of the ways bars can work to kind of convert into a restaurant, or what is being discussed as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say a few broader things, and I think Kelly really is probably better to answer some of those details. In a nutshell, we've been meeting with some of the members of the bar coalition that's formed, but also just, quite frankly, friends and folks that we know and that I know that own bars or that work at bars across the city. And what I've tried to make clear is the reopening of bars is not up to the city. So bars are explicitly not allowed to reopen under the current state orders. And so what can open are restaurants or bars with kitchens. And so what the health department is trying to figure out is we understand how critical that piece is. And so if there's a partnership that can stay and follow the law and is supported by the medical team, I think that is where the health department is headed and is meeting with some of the bar owners to take in their ideas, but also some of their own separately. And Kelly, did you want to add to that?
So currently, restaurants are, required to operate outside with special spacing, service, safety protocols, all those different pieces. So if a bar chose to begin to operate as a restaurant, utilizing food and serving meals is in a partnership with another environmental health approved kitchen, that would be the only option. So the focus is that they are serving meals, they're operating as a restaurant, and they are following all the restaurant guidance and requirements. That would be essential for any of this opportunity to be able to move through.
Thank you, Kelly. That will conclude questions. Now we will move on to Spanish interpretation.
Muy buenas tardes, gracias por acompañarnos. Hoy es nuestro comunicado de prensa para miércoles 16 de septiembre del 2020. Empecemos con información general sobre COVID-19 y después hablaré sobre los datos más recientes que pertenecen a la ciudad de Long Beach y también al condado. Hasta la fecha, 11,311 residentes han dado positivo por COVID-19. Además, aproximadamente 10,511 personas se han recuperado. Lamentablemente, hemos perdido un total de 237 residentes de Long Beach a causa de COVID-19. Como usted sabe, de acuerdo con el Plan para una Economía Más Segura del Estado, que se utiliza para determinar las operaciones y rastrear las tendencias de COVID-19, el movimiento del condado está determinado por dos criterios principales. El primero es la tasa de casos y el segundo es la tasa de positividad de las pruebas. La cantidad también de fallecimientos en los Estados Unidos que mencionó el alcalde es casi de 200,000 personas a la fecha. El condado de Los Ángeles, que incluye Long Beach y Pasadena, y la razón por la cual mencionamos esas dos ciudades separadas es porque la ciudad de Long Beach y también la ciudad de Pasadena tienen su propio departamento de salud. Entonces, todo el condado de Los Ángeles permanece en el nivel morado, que es el nivel más restrictivo. La tasa diaria de casos es del 8.1% por cada 100,000 personas y la tasa de positividad es de 3.2%. Ese porcentaje es las personas que dan positivos a las pruebas de COVID-19. La tasa de positividad del condado nos coloca en el nivel anaranjado, pero la tasa de casos está en el nivel morado. Si los dos indicadores caen en niveles diferentes, se aplica el más restrictivo y por eso mismo estamos en el nivel morado. Ahora quiero compartir una actualización sobre los datos más recientes disponibles sobre casos, hospitalizaciones y muertes aquí en la ciudad de Long Beach. Como recordatorio, ofrecemos esta información en el panel de datos de la ciudad disponibles en nuestro sitio de web de COVID-19 en la dirección longbeach.gov/COVID-19. La primera imagen que se mostró enseña los casos por fecha de episodio. Comenzaré con los casos nuevos por fecha para nuestra ciudad. Los casos nuevos han seguido disminuyendo de manera constante desde a finales de julio a principios de agosto. Por eso animamos a todos a estar atentos para que podamos continuar en ese camino. La próxima imagen que se mostró era casos por cada 100,000. Esta imagen muestra el número acumulado de casos de COVID-19 por cada 100,000 habitantes. La línea azul oscura es el estado, la línea amarilla era el condado de Los Ángeles y la línea gris era la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Queremos mencionar que estamos menos de la ciudad de Los Ángeles, pero sí estamos un poco arriba del condado. Acumulados tenemos 2,420 casos por cada 100,000, entonces eso es en total durante todo este tiempo. La siguiente imagen era las muertes por 100,000 personas. Esta imagen muestra que nuestro número de muertos por cada 100,000 personas es aproximadamente 47. En este momento. Nuevamente, constantemente lo estamos mejor que el condado, pero también un poco peor que el número en el estado. Long Beach otra vez estaba en la línea azul clara, el estado de California está en la línea azul oscura y la línea amarilla era el condado de Los Ángeles. La próxima imagen eran las hospitalizaciones durante el tiempo. Entonces, las hospitalizaciones se informan a diario, pero el cambio de datos es normal a medida que se recibe más información sobre la admisión. He mencionado anteriormente que residentes de Long Beach quizá estén recibiendo atención médica fuera de la ciudad y como vamos recibiendo esa información, los datos cambian. El promedio de los últimos 14 días es ligeramente más bajo que nuestro promedio durante los últimos 28. Ahorita estamos avanzando en la dirección correcta, pero aún nos queda un largo camino por recorrer. Los últimos 14 días tenemos un porcentaje de 39.8 personas hospitalizadas, comparado con los últimos 28 días que teníamos el número de 42.3. Seguimos teniendo una capacidad hospitalaria adecuada y estable. Nuestro uso de camillas ahorita está al 55% y tenemos 333 camas adicionales disponibles. Seguimos teniendo suficientes habitaciones y ventiladores para pacientes con enfermedades graves que necesitan el apoyo adicional del hospital. Ahorita nuestros ventiladores estamos a 45% en uso. Inventario de equipo de protección personal. Tenemos cerca de 1.59 millones de unidades de equipo de protección personal en inventario y hemos distribuido más de 832,000 unidades de equipo de protección personal. Continuamos distribuyendo equipos de protección personal a nuestros socorristas, personal médico y trabajadores esenciales. Queremos también hablar un poco sobre, o el alcalde habló un poco sobre los restaurantes, bares, cuándo va a ser posible abrir eso. Las decisiones para reabrir los bares o cantinas son hechas por el gobierno estatal y no el gobierno local. Tenemos que bajar nuestros números como un condado, el condado de Los Ángeles, para calificar, para bajar al próximo nivel y reabrir cosas adicionales. El alcalde también dio gracias a todos aquellos restaurantes que han sido creativos para poder reabrir y ofrecer mesas afuera que sí se permiten ahorita. También habló el alcalde sobre barras o cantinas que están, los bares y cantinas que quieren también reabrir como restaurante, donde tienen que ofrecer comida y eso pueden hacerlo trabajando con el Departamento de Salud. Ahora vamos a hablar sobre la calidad del aire. Antes de seguir con más datos de COVID-19, quiero hacer una breve mención sobre el impacto de la calidad del aire empeorada por los incendios forestales. El humo puede causar problemas de salud, incluyendo infecciones respiratorias y ser más vulnerable a COVID-19. Se le recuerda que los tapados de boca no protegen contra las partículas de aire causadas por el humo. Son mucho más pequeñas y pueden pasar por esos tapados o mascarillas. Recuerde que por favor reduzca su exposición al aire y limite su tiempo afuera. Para obtener más información actualizada sobre la calidad del aire en su código postal, visite airnow.gov, se deletrea AIRNOW.gov. Esta es una excelente manera de mantenerse informado. La tasa de casos y tasa de positividad, que son las dos cosas que estamos viendo. Como mencioné anteriormente, el sistema del estado va por niveles, analizando los dos indicadores para determinar cuándo pueden reabrirse los condados. Como parte del condado de Los Ángeles y junto con la ciudad de Pasadena, tenemos que cumplir con los criterios de ambos indicadores para pasar al siguiente nivel. Mencioné anteriormente que estamos en el nivel morado, que es el más restrictivo a causa de no poder llegar a los dos niveles de tasa de casos y tasa de positividad. Es importante conocer nuestros números locales, aunque estos por sí solos no determinarán nuestro movimiento según el plan para una economía más segura del estado. Vamos a hablar un poco sobre los números aquí en la ciudad. Empecemos con el primer indicador, que es la tasa de positividad. En la imagen, la tasa de positividad diaria para Long Beach muestra que Long Beach ha visto una tendencia a la baja en el porcentaje de casos en los últimos 2 meses. El gráfico mostró que la tasa de positividad de nuestra ciudad es del 4.3%, mientras que el condado tiene un 3.2%. Estamos avanzando en este indicador. Todavía se considera que tenemos un alto riesgo de transmisión comunitaria generalizada de COVID-19 debido a nuestra alta tasa de casos, que es nuestro segundo indicador. La tasa diaria de casos nuevos por 100,000 en Long Beach está al 5.9%. La ciudad de Long Beach ha experimentado una tendencia también a la baja en los casos diarios durante el último mes, pero todavía queda mucho por qué hacer. Es importante que continuemos haciendo lo que podamos para reducir la transmisión y para que podamos continuar a reabrir nuestra economía. Una cosa que se mencionó es que aunque nosotros vayamos a tener números más bajos, no podemos abrir antes que el condado. Somos parte del condado y tenemos que abrir junto con el condado. Entonces, aunque nuestros números estén más bajos, no nos permite abrir individuo del condado, pero lo que sí estamos haciendo es impactando los números del condado. Si nuestros números son más bajos, ayudamos que los números totales del condado también bajen. Vamos a hablar sobre un par de temas que son oportunos para esta época del año y donde estamos en medio de la pandemia de COVID. El miedo y la ansiedad por una enfermedad pueden causar estigma social que puede llevar a etiquetado, estereotipos, discriminación y otros comportamientos negativos hacia los demás. Por ejemplo, el estigma y la discriminación pueden ocurrir cuando las personas vinculan una enfermedad como COVID-19 con una población, comunidad o nacionalidad, que es algo que ya hemos mencionado anteriormente. El estigma también puede ocurrir después de que una persona ya se haya recuperado de COVID-19 o haya sido liberado de aislamiento domiciliario o de la cuarentena. La discriminación puede tomar la forma de que otras personas los eviten o los rechacen, que se le niegue la atención médica, la educación, la vivienda o el empleo, abuso verbal o violencia física. Es importante que los miembros y los líderes de la comunidad ayuden a prevenir el estigma al mantener la privacidad y confidencialidad de quienes buscan atención médica y de quienes pueden ser parte de cualquier investigación de contacto. Entonces es importante que mantengamos la privacidad de cualquier persona que está buscando esa atención médica. También urgimos que corrijan el lenguaje negativo que puede causar estigma al compartir información precisa sobre cómo se propaga el virus. También hablar en contra de las conductas y declaraciones negativas, incluidas las de las redes sociales, asegurándose de que las imágenes utilizadas en los comunicados muestren comunidades diversas y no vayan a dar estereotipos. Usar canales de medios, incluidos los medios de comunicación y las redes sociales, para hablar en contra de los grupos estereotipados de personas que experimentan estigma debajo de COVID-19. Agradeciendo a los trabajadores de la salud, los socorristas, los empleadores de las tiendas que están ahorita esenciales y otras personas que trabajan en primera línea. Y también sugiriendo recursos virtuales para salud médica y mental, entre otros servicios. Es el Mes Nacional de Prevención del Suicidio. Hablamos sobre el estigma de la salud mental y dado que septiembre es el Mes Nacional de Prevención del Suicidio, quisiera hablar un poco más sobre este tema. Las diferentes experiencias de vida afectan el riesgo de suicidio de una persona. Sabemos que el riesgo es mayor entre quienes hayan experimentado violencia, incluyendo el abuso infantil, el acoso o la violencia sexual. Además, se sabe que los sentimientos de aislamiento, depresión, ansiedad y otros factores estresantes aumentan el riesgo de suicidio. La mayoría de las personas experimentando estos sentimientos en algún momento de sus vidas, los factores estresantes como la pandemia pueden hacer que más personas experimenten estos sentimientos. Reducir el estigma que rodea la salud mental y la ideación suicida es en muchas ocasiones fundamental para la recuperación de una persona. El apoyo de la familia, los amigos y la comunidad en general puede ayudar a reducir los pensamientos y comportamientos suicidas. También asesoramiento o terapia en persona o virtual es muy importante para ayudar a las personas a combatir estos pensamientos y comportamientos suicidas, especialmente durante esta pandemia con COVID-19. Si usted o un ser querido se siente abrumado por emociones como tristeza, depresión, ansiedad o ideas suicidas, o si piensa lastimarse a sí mismo o a otra persona, busque atención médica de inmediato. Puede llamar a la Línea Nacional de Prevención del Suicida a 1-800-273-8255 para inglés y 1-888-628-9454 para español. De nuevo, el número de español para la línea nacional de prevención de suicidio es 888-628-9454. Si prefiere enviar un mensaje de texto, puede hacerlo a la línea directa de crisis enviando un mensaje de texto HOME al 741-741. Eso es HOME. El sitio web del Departamento de Salud de la ciudad también incluye recursos de salud mental. Al igual que con las emergencias físicas, las emergencias de salud mental justifican llamar al 911 para obtener asistencia inmediata. En ausencia de una emergencia de salud mental, puede cuidarse y apoyar su salud mental al descansar de las noticias. Escuchar demasiado sobre la pandemia también puede resultar en estrés. Cuidar su cuerpo comiendo bien, haciendo ejercicio, durmiendo y evitando el alcohol y las drogas recreativas. Conectándose con otras personas a través de llamadas, videochat, mensajes instantáneos, correos electrónicos, cartas u otras formas de comunicación, y hablar con personas de su confianza sobre sus preocupaciones, de cómo se siente también ayuda. Eso es todo por hoy. Gracias por acompañarnos. That is all for today. We thank you for joining us.